Welcome back to part 7 of the Procedural Planets in Unreal Engine's tutorial series, and by request we're going to do some parameterization today, in that we're going to feed parameters into our materials and possibly even our PCG graph. So without further delay, also look, we're around now. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so in our projects, we're going to go into our BP planet mesh, which is the thing for our planet. And let me drag this over here. We also actually want our material, which for me is an M-terrain basic, but for you guys it might be something else. Just click on your planet and you can find it somewhere in there. It's the instance, but you want the actual material. Okay, so here are our parameters right now. And you see that we have these numbers that are hard-coded, and we want to make it so that we can adjust those values with actual modifiable parameters. So this little custom node is gonna have a lot of pins in it. And it's kind of the same way we've already done it with these different water deep inputs. We just want to create variables for each of these. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more variables, which means 7 pins and 7 scalar parameters. And that's just for this basic example. Like if we want to add a moisture map, which I might do in the next video, that's going to increase even further. But anyway, so it is what it is. That's what we're working with. So let's create some more pins. I believe I said 7. I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. Probably not. But we're just going to do it. Let's just do it 7 clicks or so. That should be about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we want 7 parameters, 1 for each. Let's create some space. Let's just pull this thing up. Okay. So if you hold S and click, you can get parameters, scalar parameters, because we want integer value or float value, and a float is just a decimal number. And we're going to call this water height. I guess I'm just going to use height for all of them. Elevation works too. Water shallow, so height. So we want to call this one water deep height. You could call it elevation if you want. I'm just trying to match what these are. This one will beach height or elevation. I kind of like elevation more, but that's too many letters. Grassland height. Oops. S. There we go. And forest height. Tundra height. Also, I injured my back squatting in the Smith machine. It usually doesn't happen in normal free weight squats. So, in a little bit of a pain. It was really bad the first day. I couldn't even like walk. I was on the floor there for a while there. It was pretty rough. Anyway. And our final height is mountains height. Actually, snow is technically, but that just kind of gets its own thing. Okay. So let's just plug these in here to their little slots for now. Maybe we should have done it one at a time as we set them to equal what they are. And what else do we got? We got our pins. All of our new pins need their names. Right now it's just saying Tundra. Let's see. Tundra's already one of them. So after Tundra, we should say none. Okay. And we're gonna call that water deep height. Oh boy, that's a lot of typing. I should have copy pasted on these one at a time. Water shallow. Height. We could just not type height to save us some time. Beach height, or we could just type and not be lazy. Grassland height. It's like variable naming is one of the more important things. Forest height. I guarantee you, I don't want to say guarantee, but one of these is probably going to be named wrong and it's not going to work. We're going to have to figure out why. Tundra height. And mountains height. Okay, look at that. They all were dumb and switched their pins all to the last one. Cool. That was weird. So let's plug all these into the matching pins again, because it moved them around for some reason. This is one of the downfalls to like these visual scripting type workflows, is that oftentimes it gets very spaghettified. But anyway, we can make it work and it's not going to bother us. So now we just want to switch these numbers so that they match. 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.7, and then 0.93 for me here, but you guys might have different numbers. And now the next step is to replace these numbers with these new variables that we've created. So this is water deep height. Man, I should copy and paste one at a time. Water shallow height, or just make shorter names. So this must be beach height. And grassland height. Oh, my back. Lean back. Let's see. Forest height. Tundra height. And mountains height. Alright. If we're perfect and we make no mistakes, as we are, then it should work the first time, which very rare. Let's check out our thingy, our trained instance. So if you have your trained instance, you can open that up. And weirdly enough, they're like alphabetized. Maybe we should put them under a category. Do we have a category? Description, group. Yeah, okay, so grab these, and in group, let's create a group, and we're just going to call it parameters. Sure, why not? And now when you go into, nice, in our instance, we can look here and see parameters, and they're just all here, and you can click these if you want to modify them. And in theory, messing with these should change. You probably have to hit save. Let me guess, that's not the wrong instance. Hold on. Which instance is this planet using? If we click on here, terrain basic 2 instance 1. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. Close that out. That's an old one. Oh no, did I just do all the things in the wrong terrain material? Shoot. Yup, I did. Awesome. So pretend that I did all the things that I just did in the correct material, and I'm gonna pause and redo all that and then show the results. Alright, so now that I retyped everything twice, which is my favorite thing to do ever, we can test it, which I probably should have tested before starting the video, but who cares. Alright, 0.3, nice. So we see that our beaches work, and we can test grassland height. That'll probably cause problems. Yes, so now we have parameters for modifying our materials through the shader, which is pretty cool. And if you wanted to, which it depends where you want your controls, if you want them to be in the material itself or if you want them to be at the top level object, you could set these material variables as dynamic materials and modify those at the top level. So like when you spawn a new planet, you can spawn it with the parameters that modify the materials. So that's something we could set up, but I don't know if it's really worth our time right now to go into that, because it's like there's plenty of dynamic material tutorials out there. So maybe that'll be something to just kind of keep in our back pockets. It's like if you have planet mesh, and let's see, we're doing a dynamic mesh and creating it. You could like create a bunch of variables, create a dynamic material instance with our material as an appearance and all that, and then just like set parameters. And we have a lot of scalar parameters. Set scalar parameter by value or something like that. And you go and type in the parameter name, and our parameter names are all of these guys. So you could set all those there, and that way when you spawn a new planet from blueprints, you could, like I said, have it modified at that level, so it's like more procedural. And that would be the goal, honestly. So maybe at some point we'll do that, but for now, keeping this one short and sweet. Okay, so I decided we should just do this. We're here, let's just plug this in. We're gonna grab our mesh component and we're gonna get the material. I saw it there. Plug that into parent. I believe that's how we do that. We're gonna call this parameter. We're just gonna do a couple. We're gonna do beach height and grassland height, just to show you how to get it going. So beach height, copy paste this, and you would do this for each variable if you wanted all of them to be exposed at the object spawning level. Promote this to a variable, just call that beach height. I don't like having the same variable names across different like instances of the object, like the material, the blueprint. That's kind of gets confusing later on if you have a big project and you're searching for one variable and there 5 pop up and they all have the same name. So naming conventions, you would want to change these, but we're here doing it this way, doing it live. So make sure you plug the dynamic material instance into our set scalar parameters. We want to set our default values, which is like what, 0.2 and 0.4. So we'll just do that for now. 0.2, 0.4. So now I wonder if we can select both. Nope, that would have been cool. We want an instance editable, not edible, and expose on spawn. So that's the big one, is the expose on spawn that I was talking about, because we want to expose it on spawn. So when we go and like, let's say you have, let's just create a new blueprint class, call it an actor. I'm trying to go fast. VP, and we're gonna call it planet spawner. Planet spawner. Sure. And let's say begin play, we want to spawn a planet. So create Serate. Create spawn actor from class. There. And so now you would have to set a transform, which is a location and all that jazz. Planet mesh. So I'm just trying to show you what I'm talking about. Notice how we have all of these variables, the beach height and grassland height. So if we switch beach height to be 0.4 and grassland height to be 0.8, actually let's make beach height 0.5. See what happens. And we need a location. Let's just put something in the map real quick. This little plus thing, basic shapes, cube. Move that out of the way, not hit play. Hopefully it works. I didn't put the blueprint into the world, so now it's like trying to load and whatever's going on, crashing, because I have like a whole bunch of stuff in this sandbox project that's like working behind the scenes. Okay, so make sure you put your planet spawner blueprint into the world, then hit play. There we go. So now we're spawning planets. Don't mind the lag. That's a number of things. Probably the fact that 2 planets are being spawned, and also I've got like 4 different dynamic mesh things spawning in on this test map. So let's test taller beaches. You think that beach height would have worked better than that? Maybe we need to make the material variable right off the bat. Let's say terrain basic 2 inst already. Save that. Play. It's not raising the beach level for some reason. I don't like that. It might be because the dynamic mesh is being created and then overwritten. So let's delete this. Where's the beach, man? You're supposed to be covered in beach. Okay, let's figure out what's wrong here. This is supposed to take 2 minutes. Did I forget that we're supposed to just reapply it? Yes! Okay, cool. It worked. Alright. I'll have to edit all the garbage stuff out, but that also broke our first planet. Why did it break our first planet? Okay, that was weird. So apparently it just like erased terrain basic 2 instant from our in editor planet. So if your in editor created planet no longer has a material, make sure you click on it and set it again. Can't see it, but down behind me in the material section, you know what I'm saying? Set terrain basic instance 2 or whatever your name is, and it'll put the material back on there. That way when you hit play, it'll be there and ready to go. And also this planet should work. That's strange. Now that planet changed its material. Oh, that's because I unplugged. Whoops, it's because I unplugged this in my tests. So just to test if that works, our planet spawner, if we put our beach height back to like 0.4, grass to like 0.6, hit play. Oh, also, not right now. We're not going to do that. Ooh, it wipes it though. See how the beach is higher there? That turns back to gray. So in the editor, click on your planet. Mid. Terrain basic inst 1. This might be breaking things. Kind of seems like it is, but then if you just do that, it works again. So I don't know. We might have some sort of feedback loop where the dynamic material of instance is being regenerated on the in-editor mesh or some crazy thing. But anyway, that's a lot of words, not a lot of substance. But we showed how to use parameterization to spawn new planets with material parameters that update the dynamic material instance, which will modify how much of each terrain exists on the map. Pretty cool, if you ask me. You could apply those same lessons to change all the other things as variables. So yeah, hope that helps. Thanks for following along so far and leaving comments and all that jazz. Not really sure what to do with this series besides moisture maps, but moisture maps gives it a lot more detail because we get color variation and terrain variation. We should probably also do more spawning because we're only spawning 1 mesh, but like the goal is kind of to get you guys to like see how you could spawn your own meshes and more of them. So maybe put to do spawn brush. Yeah. Till next time. Peace.